Okay, today we're going to tint the door on a 2-door Cobalt in 35%. One of the things we started before we pulled it in, started the car up, ran the fan on high, recirculation, so the air filter in the car will help dustify the interior. Also, if you look over here, if you have problems with airborne contaminants, I have a 20-inch box fan. Actually, my furnace takes 20 by 25. A lot of times I'll run this while I'm cutting and shrinking the car, which will pull the airborne contaminants out of the shop. Hopefully in the detail shops I'm in, it'll give it all little fuzzies, floaties, until I'm ready to tint, then I'll shut it off. First thing we're going to do on this one, it's got felt gaskets. I'm going to take 1.5 inch painter's tape and tape it. The reason I do this, I can clean the window. This being, I believe, an 07, I can't clean the felt. Once it's taped up, and roll the window all the way up. Second step I do, mist the window down, and I give it a quick squeegee. That's to take all the rocks off the outside the glass, so hopefully I don't scratch the scratch coat. Typically I never take my film out of the box because it just gets dirty. I got a little piece of tape on the box so I know which way the film comes off the roll. I keep the box pointed at me. I roll off enough for the door. And we're pretty much good to start. The reason I like this one is it does have a little curve. Bottom's also a little curved. I'm going to do my standard wedge cut in the front here. Take a little of the film off. I'm also going to take it off the top here, just get it out of the way. I like throwing the film on the car because I don't like bending over to pick it up. It turns into a hockey rink, as you probably wear once it gets wet. Now, because of the slight bow on this one, I'm actually just going to wedge cut the bottom to the angle. Always steering away from my cut line. Now, kind of looking, you can see the inner gasket here, which is a little bit higher here. I refer to that as a negative offset. Typically, I just want to hide the light gap, so I'll have to flush a little bit more on this. A lot of times the window's further down, then I'll drop it down. But typically I only just hide the light gap on the gasket. To hide the light gap on the side, I'm going to shift it forward about 3/16. I'm going to wedge cut the back. Now I'm going to shift it back. And all these fingers on the bottom, I'm going to kind of stretch out and tap the window in place so it doesn't shift on me. Grab the film, lift, pull. I can drop the window down now to cut the top edge. Now typically you guys know these will finger up a little bit. This will make a little bit more sense after I get on the inside. Instead of heating the fingers, I've never seen a finger in a window, I've only seen fingers in film. I always wondered why tinters heat fingers. I'm actually going to take and heat this up, also known as a snapping technique. I know a lot of you guys do this on the bottom. And this will become apparent once I get the film on. Trick on this, I want to be able to lie down after I kind of curl it a little bit. For the video, I'm going to go a little bit too much, so hopefully what I'm doing is going to show up on camera. But see, that does drop down kind of nice and pretty. At this point, I need to round my corners. And I'm going to snap a blade before I cut on the car. You can always cut more off, you can't put more on. Got to kind of match the radius here to my radius over here, which hopefully is pretty close. Now I'm going to wet the window, or the frame here. I'm going to set that down on the side of the car so it doesn't fall off. Just want to come around the other side now. After 30 years, I'd like using a nice knee pad. And since I have a door panel to work with, I'm using my gray tool, my turbo, my razor blade. I'm actually going to start by wetting the window down a little bit. So when I roll it up, that nice hairy gasket is actually now wet. I'm actually using stainless steel razor blades so they don't rust. I can go 2-3 days. And I'm just listening for a little tink, 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 welding sputter, sticker residue, anything on the window. If I hear it, I might need to put more attention to it. As we mentioned, the inner gasket is higher than the outer gasket. So I'm going to take a gray tool real quick and kind of scrub that. I want to try to make sure all contaminants possible are off that before we do this. At this point, I can drop the film or window down a little bit. I'm going to miss the top. Again, real quick on the razor blade, listening, feeling for contaminants. This is known as a K-Wash cloth, perfect cloth or miracle cloth. There's zero fiber. I can use it for months. Just rinse it out, wring it out. When I'm done, rinse it out, and I can clean the windows when I'm done. As you're going to take this and wipe the door panel off now, I'm going to hit the top edge of the glass. That goes up into that dirty gasket. And we want to make sure the top of the window is clean so we don't bring contaminants in. Bring the window up just a hair now. I'm going to now wrap the K-Wash over my gray tool, and you can see we have a whole lot of contaminants in this back gasket. I used to flush them real well, but the gaskets absorb water. I find making sure they're very clean before I start is a good way to do it. I'm getting close to hanging the pattern now. I'm going to mist everything around it. As we peel the release sheet, static electricity is going to pull everything from the air in. By having everything wet, we should be good. On my final squeegee, I'm going to angle it so the water goes down the squeegee. I like using a nice 6-inch here. And I want to make sure that window is pretty much completely dry. The yellow turbo won't go into the gasket, so I'm going to wipe my gray tool and just very carefully make sure all the water is now out of my gasket from the front and back. Again, a little dust control, light mist, and that's all the water I want. I'm going to come around, peel the release sheet here. Personally, at this point, water equals dirt. I'm doing a very light mist, no water running into my pattern, no water running on my pattern. I actually use a combination of ultraviolet mounting solution, and depending on temperature, humidity, maybe just a drop of baby shampoo. To start now, I'm going to put my left side in, keep my right side out, and start lining up my upper edge. On this back edge, we want that to tuck in and hopefully avoid any flip lines on it. Now the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, so by dropping the front down a little, I can now bring this up into position and get a nice tight top edge. At this point, we didn't wash the car. There could have been rocks all over it. I'm going to take my perfect cloth here, and I'm actually going to start at the front edge, and I'm going to try to keep the water from going down. This is actually soaking the water up for us, and you can see I way overshrunk this. Normally I only put a slight curl on it, but to see if it'll show up in the video, I wanted to make sure we had a little more. As you can see, I'm a little bit soapy on this. The extra soap will let you go into the deeper gaskets. Once I'm at this point, I'm going to go to a Fusion 5 ES extra long handle. Matter of choice whether you want to use a Blue Max Orange Crusher. And again, I'm pulling water away from where gravity will take it down. If you can see this, you notice now I have little fingers. If I would have curled the bottom of the window or shrunk fingers on the bottom, going into the first gasket, there's a second gasket just below it. I would not be able to see those fingers on the bottom. If I did it, when you roll it down, there's a good chance it would peel. So, by shrinking the top here, I now have little fingers across the top. I'm just going to heat the heat gun up. I'm going to use my K-Wasp and the heat gun. I'm actually going to seal the upper edge. The other reason for doing this is middle of winter I'll tell people keep their windows up for 2 or 3 days. As I watch them pull out of the parking lot, they roll them down. This gives you a better chance of making sure we don't have comebacks for peeling. Now the top edge is perfectly sealed. I'm going to take my gray tool just real quick and only in the front and back corner where we can't see. If the gaskets are real deep, we want to make sure we have a long loop here. The film curled in. If I roll the window up, I don't want the glue rubbing on the tape or the felt. Same as with the front here. I'm going to curl that the other way. Now we can roll the window up. We've already bladed the bottom of the window. I'm going to open up my poly sprayer, carefully lift this up. I'm going to spray down and out. Any dirt, contaminants now that came up when I rolled the window up should have gone out. This was an old Ford Taurus or cars with real deep gaskets. I would take my gray tool and re-squeegee the front and back to get rid of contaminants that maybe came up when the window got rolled up. I'm going to crank this back down to a fine mist. Put my hand on the window and peel the release sheet. Trying just to use my fingernail, I'm going to put a light mist on this. That's not always needed. It depends on temperature, humidity, the type of glass, and how sticky it is going in. I'm going to bring this back a touch and try to get the film to sit on top of the gasket. Using the gray tool, I'm now going to pull the gasket back, and following along, I'm going to drop this right into the bottom gasket. Only the first one, I did not hit the second one. For those of you that say if we don't go into the second gasket, it's going to peel, in 30 years, how many XM stickers, serious stickers, child safety lock stickers, and they've never peeled? Why does film peel? Again, I'm going to grab my hard card with the K-Wasp. We might have dirt on here. This will not scratch. A hard squeegee might. The other thing to note is if you look at what I call the smiley. By shrinking the top, I'm now going to have to stretch out the bottom. By leaving the bottom virgin or unheated, I should not have any fingers. I took them out of the top. So technically, I should not have a finger when I'm done, and this should not peel when I'm done. I'm going to go straight down in the middle and start working the film out to the side. Just light pressure, get the bulk of the water out. I'm going to come back here, and you can see this is stretched. The film wants to go this way. Because I did over curl it for this video, we might have to use our finger to help it a little. Bulk of the water is out. We're getting close. Light mist. And I like using the pro handle. You get a lot more pressure. You try to use an angle so the water comes down off the bottom. And you can see a ton of water here going off the bottom, making sure it doesn't roll off the top. Quick wipe. I don't want to go too far into the gaskets with the pro handle, it might pull the film out. Again, I'm going to take my K-Wash and hard card, a little bit right there. I'm going to take my gray tool now, pull the gasket back a touch. And that's going to take all the water out of the bottom. If I didn't get my shrink right and a finger did pop up, I don't mind. If it comes up with water, we're going to siphon trash out of the bottom gasket, and we'll probably have to redo the window. Back, we're going to hit that just lightly. Turn the heat gun on. I don't want my gray tool really to rub the film much, but I want to get in here and carefully seal the edges. I got to get all the way down to the bottom corner where I tucked. Pulling the heat gun back so I don't melt the door panel, I'm going to seal the bottom edge. Also go down the front very carefully. At that point I can take my K-Wash again. Shut the key off. Put it on the windshield wiper. I never set anything on the painted surface of a car. I can wipe up the whole door panel now. I can wipe up the glass. The nice thing about the painter's tape being blue, if I was doing 20% or limo, I'd still be able to see the edge. Comes off clean, typically no tape residue. Unlock the door. On the outside now, I can wipe off the glass. Wipe a little of my overspray off. When I was wetting down to peel, I also wet the bottom of the mirror. There could have been dust there which could have gone into the pattern. But they don't typically pay me to wash cars. The car will come back to them in the condition they got it, except maybe a little cleaner on the windows. Looking around, we don't have any flip lines. We are sealed completely. On cars with deep gaskets, sometimes you get a flip line, so I carry a mini torch. 1, 2, 3. 3 seconds for the heat to go through the 1/4-inch glass. And I can take either a gator blade, a gray tool, and knock out any flip lines or any spots I might find. $6 at your local tobacco shop or gas station. There's your basic door, finger-free installation, sealed edges. You can pretty much roll it down right now, and it should never peel. Thank you.